Dealing with disruptive behaviors. What is disruptive behaviors? Disruptive behavior are actions that interfere with other students being on task or reject opportunities to learn. These are those which impede learning and teaching and have the potential to escalate or spread if left unchecked. Dealing with non-violent disruptive behaviors. Non-violent disruptive behaviors are actions that can interrupt other students to learn and teacher to discuss without them being harmed. Example of this behavior are disruptive talking, interrupting, clowning, being discourteous, and failing to clean up. How can we, teachers, deal with this kind of student? There are many ways to handle this situation. Example of this are, first, use fewer words and less emotion, or stand near the off-task kids but keep eye contact with the on-task kids. In this way, the discussion will not be delayed or stopped, and at the same time, we can discipline or minimize the said disruption. Another way is to give a 3 seconds freeze look where you are going to silently stare the disruptive child. Also, caught their attention and calmly explain the right thing to do. You can also give them a choice. Example, stay quiet and listen intently to our discussion and end the class early, or keep noisy and let's extend the time before ending the class. Next is to involve students in the lesson to engage. Example of this is, I'm going to call you in 1 minute to demonstrate how to solve this problem. And the simplest way is to understand the situation. Understand why they are acting out because they may have a problem and redirect that attention in a more positive way. Lastly, why is an organized and dirty classroom that is failed to clean up is considered as a non-violent disruptive behavior? Because it can affect how students learn, and a clean and organized classroom is the best effective learning environment. So, for them to follow your instructions, explain why cleaning is necessary and what are the results if they failed to clean up.
Good morning, everyone. My topic is all about dealing with violent disruption.
Safe school program in place, violence prevention strategies must be implemented in school in order to address such violent students' behavior. It is important because it helps teachers and students to feel safe inside the school. Let's remember that to deal with this violent students' behavior depends on how you can rely on school security system and the school-wide implementation of policies for effectively responding to antisocial conduct.
There are some examples of violence towards students and teachers that commonly happen in school, such as bullying, fighting, attack on teachers, and vandalizing. Let's first discuss what is bullying. Bullying is antisocial behavior intended to intimidate and treat the well-being of another. Bullying are not just happened inside the classroom. It also happens even outside the classroom. If a student threatens or strike a teacher or other adult school personnel, then students are in serious trouble with school authorities and law enforcement authorities. Expulsion or suspension from the school is likely the consequences of it. This kind of violence should be dealt by the teacher and school administration because student fear of being bullied is a major cause of student absenteeism or why student doesn't want to go to school anymore. Fighting. Fight between students tend to follow 3 stages. First, posturing and provocation. Students often taunt and threaten one another and demonstrate to one another and observe that they are preparing for action. In short, in this stage, the students are asking or getting ready for a battle, and these are commonly happened mostly in male than females. It is because male are more likely want a combat fight rather than girls. Second, intense physical aggression. If no teacher or other responsible person intervenes successfully during stage 1, the verbal aggression and posturing escalate into intense physical fights. Third, lull. In this third stage, when students are in the fight, they become tired. Therefore, the fight becomes less intense and students may pause momentarily. Also, a student who is faring worse may attempt to look for a way to terminate the fight altogether. In the absence of a successful intervention during the lull, the fight is likely to escalate once again. So, if in the first stage there's no teacher or personnel intervenes as early as they can, the fight between students are more likely to become escalated into intense physical fighting. In addition, fighting is not just all about a combat between students. There also a fight which includes a weapon. And in this kind of violence, teachers should know how to address this situation. Therefore, teachers need to be trained in strategies to confronting situation, students, and intruder who threaten them and their students with weapons. The following are the suggestion strategies for the teachers. First, remain calm. Second, use slow, deliberate movement. Third, use the 3-step turn and withdraw techniques. Fourth, inform the assailant that you are clearing the area. Fifth, offer options. 6, comply with demands. And lastly, someone helped. Attack on teachers. Students might attack teacher in many different ways. Therefore, strategies that can help the teachers in preventing the attack are the following. First, strategies. You are not intimidated by the threat of violence. A teacher shouldn't allow the students to intimidate them through their threat. Second, you do not pose a threat to students. If the teacher doesn't want the students to attack them, then they should also avoid perpetrating violence on them, like giving a punishment that can already cross the limit, roughly touching them, and also discriminate them. Third strategies. Use physical force with students only in drastic situations, in which it is the only reasonable means for restraining them from harming themselves or another. Fourth, you are sensitive to potentially volatile situations and do not make yourself available as a target when students might unthinkingly react aggressively. Fifth, you avoid making ultimatums in which the consequences of students' non-compliance is the most severe sanction you can levy. 6. You never tolerate violence behavior in your presence. A teacher should remember that they have a right to use the full power of the legal system to prevent violence. 7. You build positive relationship with students, respecting them and earning their respect for you. To avoid violence between teacher and students, a positive relationship is a must. Lastly, you and your colleagues consistently implement a sound, safe school program. Vandalizing. Vandalism, like discourtesy and an unkept classroom, can be extremely disruptive to a learning environment. Some examples of vandalism are painting graffiti on walls, breaking windows, or arson. This kind of violence among students should be handled or addressed by the school administration and law enforcement authorities because it can affect the school facilities and some vandalism might harm other students.